Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview covering VCT America Stage 2 this time. For this occasion, I'm here accompanied by fRoD, the head coach of MIBR, who coming off of a group stage exit in Stage 1 for the team looking to bounce back from that, obviously. So, fRoD, really appreciate you taking the time doing this interview real quick. First and foremost, how are you feeling?
Feeling good. Thank you for having me. We're in a situation that is not necessarily ideal, making changes mid-season. But obviously some things had to change, and we're just in the process of getting everything going. Um, we haven't had as much time to practice as we'd like, just because of a lot of stuff, like we had to get new players, and we're in the process of the visas and everything like that. So not everything's been ideal, but everything is nothing different than happens in other teams. Like every team has their issues and goes through their things, whether it's visa related or even computer related. You never know. So for us, it's just focusing on our next match, trying to stay positive and working through whatever obstacles we're given, regardless of whether you know it's controlled by us or not.
I gotta ask about first and also in addition to that, when it comes to yourself and this team, being slotted into the head coaching role, going to there from being assistant to Bazooka and then Bazooka and then MIBR parted ways, him leaving the team and now you putting into Bazooka's former role. How has the kind of transition been like for you, and how kind of difficult has it been for you in just trying to fill into the shoes while also trying to take the team into your direction?
Um, I mean, it's not really that difficult in that way because me and Bazooka worked well together a lot, even when we were on Loud, um, towards Champions in 2022 and stuff. Like when they parted ways and I joined there and stuff like that. It's I think that we're pretty similar in a lot of the ways that we think and approach the game. Obviously, there's a lot of differences in our own ways, but there's a lot of similarities as well. So I think it's just more of making sure. I'm just putting a lot of my identity on things and making sure that we do things a little bit differently. But at the same time, I think that we were kind of found like a happy medium about doing things, the way that he likes and the way that I liked and stuff. And obviously, didn't produce a good result, but I felt like our results in that split were not really, things that any coach could have really controlled or changed. I think a lot of it was just going on inside the server on the stage, and obviously maybe we could have approached different things and practiced better. But I think that we as a coaching staff and we as a team were doing absolutely everything that we thought would have been optimal. And obviously, like you said, things don't work out. So our focus is just taking a different approach on things and not focusing so much in the past and how we did things. Just really focusing on bringing a fresh new perspective on things.
Going a little bit back into stage one, just asking a little bit of an overview on that stage. Of course, O5. I mean, not really the kind of performance that any team would like to have, but unfortunately, that kind of happened to your team. Just sort of looking at biggest issues that the team kind of encountered from your point of view. If there's the one issue that kind of overlapped, or more so, just kind of what's the biggest out of all of them that you kind of been talking about? What would that one thing be and why?
I would just think it. I think a little bit more is like psychological. Like I think we just didn't perform well on stage. I think tactically, we were always doing a good job. I think when it came to our preparation, our practice, our understanding of what the other team is gonna do, including maps, what sides they're gonna pick, what strats they're gonna run, like everything that we did was, uh, I think, really, really good. It was just maybe the psychological part on stage that you know we just did not figure out a solution towards that part, or for whatever reason we just we didn't have some of those issues on the first stage where there was players choking, or maybe communication was bad in some moments, and not speaking well, like like if you're maybe if you feel a little bit with like the pressure and stuff, you're gonna kind of fumble your words or whatever. Like it happens to anyone regardless of language. So I think that some of those things that it's really hard to measure, and it's not really stuff that you can kind of prepare and practice for. It's just stuff that you kind of have to deal with and try your best to overcome some of those situations as an individual, but also as a team.
Hmm. Now I want to kind of pivot towards the team's performance, or not performance, but more so practice in the lead up to stage two. You kind of already touched upon a little bit about how the team is encountering difficulties on that front. Also, moving on from end of stage one to stage two, I had a bit of a quick conversation with Artisan before that, and you mentioned a little bit about how um, not everyone is in Los Angeles. Not everyone has been able to kind of secure their visas to attend the team. More so, sort of asking the same kind of question for you guys, or for you in particular, for how you guys kind of been managing that aspect of just having to practice with the team, but also while not having everyone on the ground over there.
I think we're just really focused on creating our base and creating our routine and our process. Obviously, it's included some different individuals in those situations. Whether I've had to play some games because you never know if I have to play or something like that, or even like I'm just maybe catching a scrim on the weekend or playing rank with the guys. Like it's all hands on deck, and it's not just the six that are going to be announced as player and coach or whatever. Like we're trying to do everything we can. Do a lot of situations that kind of change day by day. But I think the most important thing is just focus on our process. Even if we're playing scrims with bad ping or visas, I mean, can't let those things focus us. On our day to day or affect us on our day to day. Like it's a reality, but at the same time, it's not something that we need to be discussing and harping on every single second of our day. It is something that everyone is trying their absolute best for it. If it's something that maybe someone could have done something different or we were delayed on something, there's nothing of that. Everyone has been doing everything they absolutely can to try and help us out from Riot to MIBR to the Players Union. Like everyone is doing everything they can. I think this is just a process that, since it's out of everyone's hands, that I've just kind of mentioned, and even more people are trying to help us. We just all have to accept it and kind of get on with it, and just creating our focus, like on our routine, our fundamentals, and that's always how it is, right? Like even if we would have, like, okay, we were doing really good in scrims leading up to split one. Well, we didn't even win a map, so whatever. I mean, like obviously practice is important, but I think the result of practice and this scrim buck stuff is kind of nonsense. Like scrim results actually don't matter, and people who focus so much on that obviously don't compete at like the very highest level, or their focus isn't at the very highest. And sure, it's something that the community and others can talk about. I'm not saying that it's not something that people shouldn't wonder about and have their concerns about, but if you're in a team and in a process day to day, then you should just believe and focus on that process and kind of do your best to ignore some of the outside noise. And you know, I think that's something that we're just focused on, is focus on ourselves regardless of situation.
Oh, for sure. Appreciate the insight. You mentioned a little bit uh, some time ago in the conversation about the possibility of you getting into stepping in to the team and playing on stage and just playing with the team, screaming and stuff like that. Might have a chosen version two for this team. And you also kind of mentioned a little bit of that on on Twitter. Just you kind of jokingly talking about that possibility, but still. I mean, I gotta ask, like, is there a possibility that you will have to step in on stage?
Yeah, there's a possibility for everything. Obviously it's not what we're wanting to do. It's not what I want to do at all. I don't think I've played a match on a stage like that in 10 plus years, but just know that if I do have to play, like I know how to play. I've obviously won a lot of trophies when I used to compete, so I know what I'm doing in there. But my focus is not to play, not at all. But everyone knows that I'm ready to go at any given moment. But yeah, that's not what I'm aiming for at all.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a sight to see. That's for sure. If it does happen, more so, just want to now ask about the roster, and of course, since the end of stage one, you guys let go of FRZ, and then there's been kind of reports about other. players leaving the squad. Just want to ask about what's the current status of the team. You know, do you guys have your five ready to go? And if so, if you're like, if you are able to kind of disclose on that, you know, who's going to be on the field slash server once day one, once the opening day does kick off.
Those are two completely different questions. Who's going to be on the team and who's going to actually play? So,
Yeah, that
you know what I mean? Like that's the reality of art. Normally, it should not be two different questions, but for us, it is. So just kind of wrap it up in that way. It's like everything is going to be announced tomorrow. So I think all the details and everything is going to be announced, and I think that will give a bigger picture as to what's happening with the team, what direction we're going with some of the players that are going to be on our team, and then also we might be able to have some more answers and information out there as to who's going to be in the server, because like I said, those are two totally different situations, unfortunately, right now. That's just our reality, and we're hoping we're doing everything we can, and we have every single option kind of ready to go to try and make that not happen. We just, some things are not in our hands, but if that has to happen for a match or two or something, then like I said, we have some stuff in place ready to go. um and like I said, me playing is probably one of our final plans. So, um, you know, we have several things ready to go, and I think a lot of those things are going to be announced tomorrow. And it's actually something that I wish we had already resolved and announced and stuff. Just simply because I would have loved to have discussed more about this into detail and talk more about these players, because I think that people are going to be a little bit surprised, but also at the same time, I think that people are going to be very pleasantly surprised with how talented and how good some of these players are, especially in the Brazil region. So just really excited to get to show the world that, and obviously it's a little bit sad if they can't show that in the first game or whatever. Who knows how that situation is going to be, but it's something that we're doing everything we can to make that happen. And I guess when that ends up happening, because it will happen for sure, I think everyone's going to be excited and have something to see how it's a little bit different out of the box, but I think everyone's going to enjoy it.
one more question before I wrap it up. I'm gonna try to make it short. Um, as I said before, given the fact that you guys are gonna start off 05 with that record overall, heading into stage two, what's it? How is the team gonna basically approach this stage overall? You know, are you guys going to just basically try to reach a spot in champions, or are you guys just basically looking at this as a rebuilding phase? You know, how's that going to work?
I mean, it'll kind of be just how we approach like kickoff, for example, that we just want to win every single game regardless of what happens. Like even if we drop our first game in the group, like we did at kickoff, like our goal is to win every game regardless. Even when we made it to the play-in games and we lost one map to G2, we were eliminated. We wanted to win and we won that game. So for us, our focus is on winning. Whether it happens or not, that's a little bit out of our control, you know. And we did not do a good job in that first split of that. But I think overall, as long as we're improving year by year, I think we're at least making the right moves and stepping in the right direction. I think that everyone knew of MIBR last year for that one game with Chosen and stuff, and they obviously didn't have that great of a year. I think that moment was obviously important in the history of Valorant, but that didn't really do much for MIBR. Like they didn't make anywhere. Nothing happened there. They were just kind of like a side note in the history of Valorant. That's not the goal for us this year. I think that what we did at kickoff already kind of showed everyone that we've had a much better year than 2023 already. But the way that we had it our first split um, maybe took us back a little bit, like a step or two backwards. But I still think that as long as we have a pretty decent split, we're already making progress from last year. Um, we want to go 5-0. We want to win every game, regardless if we do or don't, or if that makes us playoffs or champions or not. That's fine. That's out of our control. I think that we just want to make sure that we just have a better year than we did last year, and have that be the focus every year. And once we can reach our goals, then our focus will be on maintaining that. But right now, it's on the evolution is kind of our focus. And like I said, winning games, winning maps, like that's we just got to win, and everything is proven on the server. And I think that the teams with a lot of confidence and preparation, I think that they're all going to be ready. And like I said, that's our focus, our preparation, our practice, and just making sure everyone's really young, confident, and ready to go.
We'll definitely be seeing how the evolution of MIBR plays out from the start of stage two up until the very end. fRoD, thank you so much for taking the time for doing this real quick, answering all of my questions, and we're looking forward to see how the team will present itself stage two, first day, and then everything else after that.
Perfect. Thank you, Pedro. Have a great day and appreciate your time as well.